The small house used to be my biggest fear. It was hideous, always dark, always cold. There was no privacy. Everything felt like one room. There were no doors, no windows. Everything was open. And yet somehow the light from the outside world never reached inside, as though the sun were hiding away from that horrid house. But of course I knew, like it or not, we would eventually return to that house. And we did, my father and I, alone. The matriarch of the house now gone. The only thing I had feared more than the house then had been losing him as well. He seemed to be changing after the loss of his wife, becoming angry and distant. The once endlessly patient man was reduced to a screaming mess of emotions that he could not process, and I could not but feel bad for him. The following day at the new school had been uneasy, awkward. Everyone in the hall seemed to be avoiding my gaze. I didn't bother trying to understand why. Since the funeral, I was in a daze, felt like I was floating around listlessly everywhere in my own life. Did not feel like I was really awake. Everything felt like a dream, an unreal experience that I was living in. I arrived back after school to an empty house, panicked, did not know what to do or who to call. I had no friends, no family aside from him, didn't know any of the adults he worked with. I just went to bed that night hoping that he would come back in the morning. I dreamt about that horrid, small house, dreamt that it was empty, that not even I was in it anymore, that it was even smaller and darker than it had always been. The spirit of myself that was somehow not there saw something, saw it, and knew that it was dangerous and ran down the stairs. Whatever was chasing me followed me all the way down the stairs and into my father's empty bedroom, and I woke up, terrified. In my half-asleep state, I ran downstairs, mimicking the dream, my heart pounding as I prayed that the bed would not be empty. And it wasn't. And I touched his shoulder and turned him around, and he was not himself. And I jumped back in fear, believing that I was still dreaming, wishing I would wake up. But the terrifying animal, the monster that had once been my father in front of me, merely grunted and got out of bed. We sat and ate our breakfast without talking, in silence except for the occasional angry snarling from the monster across from me. I avoided looking at him, felt afraid to see what he looked like. On the way to school, I glanced around the bus. Everyone seemed to be turned into another monster, a smaller version of whatever my father was now. Something with gray skin and a large mane, no real face, but strange and humane features instead. In the halls at school, I avoided everyone else's gaze now as well, kept my head down. I've been avoiding looking at my reflection. I don't want to know whether I've been changed as well, or if I'm the only human left walking around these creatures. I can't wake up from this nightmare, because I'm not dreaming anymore. It's all real, and there's nothing I can do. Thank you for listening and watching. All links and references are in the description below.